And by the way, anytime we have you on the show, if you disagree with me, because actually the team we're going to talk about next, Nekias and I, on the trade deadline day, we're talking about this. But then we just randomly started talking about NBA basketball in the trade deadline. And the team that came up, of course, was the Phoenix Suns. And I wanted to sort of get your guys' take on them. I know we've only seen Kevin in 4 of these games. Assuming KD is healthy, right? What concerns do you have? Is there a reason that they should not be the favored team in the Western Conference to come out of the West and play one of the heavyweights from the East?
I think if you're removing, like, health is just going to be number one. But if we're removing that out of the equation, it's just kind of the stability from whoever the 5th guy is, whether that's Josh Okogie, whether that's Torrey Craig. Like, can those guys knock down enough shots? If you go to Landry Shamet or a spacer, Terrence Ross, can they defend well enough? And I think team-wide, I always get pushback on this just because of the level of shot making that Phoenix has. But, like, can they pressure the rim enough? And can they win the paint enough in terms of getting to the free throw line? Like, Monty Williams has been very upset with the free throw discrepancies over the last few games. But generally, this isn't a team that pressures the rim a lot. And the rim shots that they get, it's a lot of the stars creating gravity. And DeAndre Ayton, he's getting dunks. It's not a lot of guys getting hacked or just driving, putting their head down and getting down to the rim. So, like, I do wonder if teams get comfortable switching and then crowding, like, can they combat that? And can they do enough to win on the interior? I think those would be my primary concern.
I think KD eases a lot of the concerns that I had before the trade. If we're talking, hey, the second unit, I know depth is a thing that's being talked about, but if you can close quarters with Kevin Durant or Devin Booker and then open the next with the other, that can help with that. I think KD is underrated in what he's going to add to this Suns defense, especially in the playoffs, with their love of playing team defense, with his ability to guard multiple positions, his weak side defense. I think for me, who's the 5th guy? Do they have enough two-way lineups that work for them? Is DeAndre Ayton still going to be able to hold up and pick and roll? That's always a question mark for me. And then what do you do about teams telling Chris Paul, please come here and defend?
And we saw that last year in the playoffs, particularly in that Dallas series where they targeted him almost the whole game, especially in Game 6. The thing about Phoenix, and I pointed this out in one of the games I had recently, Kevin was out, but I pointed it out. Torrey Craig caught a swing pass. They had put 2 on the ball, and Torrey Craig caught a swing pass at the top of the key, and he was wide open, and he hesitated. And I think he swung the ball, and then the next time down he shot it, or Josh Okogie shot it. But to me, that 5th guy, you talk about reliability and stability of that position. The 5th guy can't be what Josh Hart was towards the end of his Portland Trailblazers tenure. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, there can't be hesitation when you're the 5th guy. You've either got to cut out of the corner, cut out of the slot when there's 2 on the ball. You've got to either catch and drive. You've either got to shoot it right away. Like, to me, the concern is, does the 5th guy fuck up the flow? That's if he's missing shots. Remember the OKC Houston series when Lou Dort shot like, I don't know what it was, 2 for 15 one game, and then like the next game they just like left him open. Like, he kept shooting. To me, you're doing a disservice. The hesitation and the flow of the offense gets fucked up if you do what Torrey Craig did on that one possession. So I don't know who it is. I think it probably ends up being Okogie. That's the concern. And then the other concern with me is the shot profile in general. You guys brought up the rim pressure. I think Devin Booker, in particular over the last few weeks, has been more aggressive in attacking the basket, trying to get downhill, trying to put pressure on the rim, especially in pick and rolls where he's not settling as much. At least that's the eye test. I don't know what the advanced numbers say, but not settling as much in the mid-range. But when you talk about this team, you're talking about guys, Ayton, Paul, Booker, KD, that like live in the mid-range. You're not shooting a ton of free throws, and you're not necessarily night to night going to take and make a ton of threes. So do you run into a math problem against certain teams? That's a concern, legitimate concern for me.
I think that's fair. And even with Phoenix, like, not a high 3-point rate team, but they are a team that can generate a lot of stuff in the corners. But you think about who's taking those shots from the corners. It's going to be a lot of Torrey Craig or Josh Okogie or some of the guys that they're trying to stash. So I do wonder like if they're able to find the balance there. And honestly, I wonder with the 3-point shooting in general, that's a good point and something that I'm just trying to think through live. Like, I wonder if Phoenix is okay with not taking a bunch of threes because when they're spacing, like if Kevin Durant is the single shooter on the side and he's in the corner, they may not be getting a 3 there, but that driving lane is opening up and they're making the mid-range opportunities easier, or they're opening up stuff at the rim. Like I did a video breakdown on some of the buckets DeAndre Ayton got in the Minnesota game. And a lot of that was Devin Booker was in the strong side corner on one, Kevin Durant was in the strong side corner on one, and Ayton got dunks because the guy couldn't help down. And so if you have Chris Paul navigating things to pick and roll or Devin Booker navigating things to pick and roll, you can't send help. You turn this into a 2-on-2. And that's how they get some fruitful looks there. So I wonder how they find that balance between really spacing and opening up the 3-point line or just trying to make their inside the arc looks easier.
Where does TJ Warren fit in?
I think he's one of the guys, if he's also able to stay healthy, he's a guy that can knock down shots. But more importantly, he's a guy that can catch and go. And I think as JJ alluded to, like the Torrey Craig problem where he, on that one possession, he caught the ball, kind of hesitated and swung. TJ Warren will let it go or he will immediately catch and drive. That's something that he did in Indiana, something he did in Phoenix the first time. He's very comfortable just kind of cutting from the wing or attacking from the wing and getting downhill. So I think he has a role, especially with some of these hybrid second units, if you need someone else to take some pressure off of one of the main guys that's carrying the bench unit.